What's up, everybody? This is Cowboy in Japan, and welcome to my podcast. This is episode 5 of CBNJP. I know it's been a while since I made anything, and I know I always do that intro. I know it's been a while. But there are times when I feel like I want to make something, I want to make a video, and there are times when I don't. Most of the time I don't want to make a video, and but people are still like, I don't want to say bombarding me, but like, it's good that people are out there. There are people who are out there who are craving more content. Like, oh, I can't wait for your next video. Please make another video. Please, I'm waiting. When is it gonna come out? That's great. That's awesome. Everybody wants something like that, especially if you're making YouTube videos. You want people to want your material, your content. So that's very great. It's very awesome. But on a side note, or on the other hand, YouTube for me is not my job. It's just a hobby, just like playing video games. Sometimes you're really into like a video game. Say you bought say GTA, you bought GTA 5, you played the shit out of it, at the beginning, and now you kind of, play it only sometimes, like rarely or online or whatever. So YouTube for me is kind of like that. Sometimes I want to devote time to it. Other times I just want to do what I want to do, just sleep in or just watch TV or just, catch up on dramas, American, TV shows, binge watch, the Game of Thrones or, something like that, or listen to podcasts, or just do anything, go out, there's a lot of time that goes into making a YouTube video, and I know when I upload a video, or when anyone uploads a video, it may be like 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, something short like that, but you're just getting like a super condensed version of what went on that entire day, or how much. And making a video is not like 7 minutes, like, oh, I'm gonna turn on a camera and we're gonna do it in one shot and here it is, oh, we're finished. Oh wow, it only took like 10 minutes. Okay, let's cut it down to like 7. Making a YouTube video is not that easy. Usually you're shooting okay, I'm not gonna say like I'm an expert, and I'm definitely not at that top level where I'm producing top quality content where there's like a sound guy and a lighting, guy or whatever, and we're trying to set up this whole set. But for me, usually my videos take anywhere from like 30 minutes to an hour to shoot, because I have to do like retakes and like, oh man, I fucked up that word. Let me go back. Okay, where is it? Okay, and let's start, again from there. So it usually takes an hour. Yeah, about an hour. Anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour just to shoot the video. Now, usually, I'm pretty sure everybody else is like this, especially people who are on YouTube. It also takes time to get yourself ready, get dressed, I make videos on my days off, so usually I'm just at home, in my pajamas like I am right now, just doing nothing, hair messy, need to take a shower maybe or something like that, and it's also those type of things that kind of make me like not want to make a video. Like, oh man, I want to make this video, It's already like 1 or 2 p.m. in the afternoon. I have to, get up, take a shower, get dressed, get like a basic outline of what I want to do for the video, and then I gotta shoot it, and then I gotta edit it. That's like the whole day gone, for me, for that one video. That'll maybe get like 1,000 views, maybe. Oh my gosh, that sounded so like, not conceited, but it sounded like, I took that for granted. Like, of course, 1,000 views to someone who, doesn't have very many subs, or, doesn't get very much attention on YouTube. Of course, that is amazing. I should be very grateful for that. And I am. But I'm not. What I'm trying to say is, I'm basically trading my days off for a little bit of viewer retention, if you know what that means. Like, I'll get like, maybe out of the 1,000 who watch my video, maybe like 600, anywhere from like 400 to 600 will watch the actual full video, and the rest will just like turn it off after like 2 minutes or whatever. So that seems like kind of a waste, or I was in that kind of a mindset, like, oh, it's a waste, and I don't even feel like making a video right now. So that's what I was in. I was kind of in a little rut. But it got so bad that even my own wife was like hounding me down to make another video. Like, I think it started about a month ago, I think, maybe. I don't know how it started. I think we got on the topic of me making another YouTube video, and I think it was after the recent video I made, which is finding a job hard in Japan, or something like that. So it was a little bit after that. I was like expecting to make another video quickly. I know it's been like over a month, but I had mentioned it to her. We had gotten to talking, and since then, every weekend or all the time randomly, when she knows I've been off or I've had time, she always asks me, did you make a video today? Did you make another YouTube video? Make a YouTube video. She's always telling me, like, make a YouTube video, make another one, do it. So even my own wife is on my ass to make another YouTube video. So, I was like, oh shit, well, I gotta make this video, I already told people that I was gonna make a video soon, like after I had released my previous one. So people were expecting me to do this. I got time, and just do it. It's like Shia LaBeouf. Is that how you say it? LaBeouf? I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last name correctly, but that's the way they used to say it on the Disney Channel back in the day. But yeah, just do it. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. But I've been really, 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 really into podcasts lately. And, I've been a huge fan of Smodcast, or Smodco, podcast, which is like run by Kevin Smith. He does like 5 podcasts, like, Hollywood Babylon, Fat Man on Batman, Smodcast, and like Jay and Silent Bob Get Old, and just some other stuff like that. I've also been a huge fan of DVD ASA with David Cho and also Akira. So I am like every day, nonstop, I'm listening to someone's podcast. And the joy of that is that when people make these podcasts, they're like 2 hours long, hour and 40 minutes long, 3 hours long. So it's amazing. You just sit there and just listen and get lost. It got to a point where I would like just be at home by myself and with everything off, all the lights off, all the electricity off, and I would just be in a dark room, just listening to these podcasts, with my headphones on, and you just get lost in the conversation, So I've been really digging podcasts, and recently I got an email from my YouTube network, and they offered to upgrade my did I say that weird? SoundCloud account. They offered to upgrade it to a premium account. Currently, my SoundCloud, why can't I say that? My SoundCloud account is a basic, account. That's why I only have one episode of CBNJP on there, because I thought it was the size of the files that determines your storage space, but I guess it's the actual time too, and I would do those shows for an hour and 40 minutes, so I ran out of space, so, I got the email, and I was like, oh shit, I could totally revive CBNJP and get some of this content, release this content that's been building up. So, I applied for that. They haven't gotten back to me yet, but I decided to start making the content, at least for now, and just upload it to YouTube. And then what happened, another thing that coincides with this is, a viewer by the name of Robert, hit me up on Facebook out of nowhere. I didn't release any information that I was thinking about reviving CBNJP, and the next day, I think, or not even the next day, a few hours, 16 hours, 14 hours later after I applied, this dude named Robert hit me up on Facebook, and he was like, hey, here's episode 2 of CBNJP, I try to clean up the audio, if you want, I can clean up the audio for you for free, I can do it, I just want, some practice, I want, something from my, portfolio to show people and stuff. He's like, here's a sample, tell me what you think if you're interested. I listened to it, it was good, I was like, oh my god, this has to be, what a coincidence that this dude hit me up as soon as I was, hours, before or after I had, thought about reviving, the CBNJP. And, I listened to it, I was like, oh yeah, thanks man. I told him the situation, I was like, yeah, I might be getting a premium account on SoundCloud, thanks to my network. So I might be reviving the show, I don't know. But, I'll think about it, I'll let you know. I'll get back, and I'm gonna get back to him, of course. I'm gonna see how good the audio is, with these. Because before the shows were from the Hangouts from YouTube, and they were done, on a poor, stream quality, with, a cheap dollar microphone, so of course the audio quality wasn't great, but hopefully I'm gonna see how good they are. I'm using my iPhone this time. These aren't gonna be live, that way I can focus more on the audio quality and the actual quality of the entire show, instead of just the whole stream live show, trying to keep up with everything. I'm hoping nothing fails, But yeah, I'm bringing back CBNJP, and it's good because I can just hang out. I don't have to get dressed. I'm just here, in my pajamas, or what I call my pajamas, which are basically just shorts and whatever t-shirt I fell asleep in. But I don't have to get dressed. I get the content out there, I get to talk. Hopefully this sparks my interest in YouTube again. But yeah, anyways, the show is back. we're gonna get things started, hopefully. But anyways, I'm gonna take a small break, and then I'll be back with more CBNJP. Okay, we're back. So let's try to backtrack a bit from the last time I uploaded a video, and I'll try to fill in the blanks, try to keep you guys, or give you guys like a update or what's been going on and stuff. Basically, I thought this summer was gonna be like an amazing summer. Like, there was 3 things I was really excited about. I got 2 of those things. Really, I'm gonna say I got 1 of those things. But you know, I'll tell you. I'll just break it down. Okay, so of course, summer 2015. This was gonna be amazing. 3 of my favorite animes were gonna come back in some type of form. One of the number 1 things I was excited about was the new Dragon Ball anime that was gonna be released in July, and it did. So that was one thing. I was really excited. It was amazing. I checked it out, first episode, as soon as it came out. I recorded it, checked it out later when I came home. It's amazing. I swear to God, it's a very nice reset. If you don't enjoy that show from the first episode, like, I don't know what they can do to please you. Like when I was watching it, I thought, oh shit, if they just did a Dragon Ball show of just Trunks and Goten, you know, just doing like child, you know, antics or whatever, just having fun and going on adventures, I would watch that. I would watch a Goten and Trunks, you know, TV show, anime of just them 2 getting into trouble. Not like that Dragon Ball GT, not like, you know, antics going around and getting into adventures around the universe like that. But the way they did it on Dragon Ball Super, it was perfect. And it was just a small segment too. It's not even like they were the main focus. It was a small segment. I don't want to give too much away, but there was a small segment in there where they did go out on a little adventure type thing, and I thought, oh shit, you know, I could totally watch a TV show of just them 2, you know, just doing like normal kid shit. You know, that's how good it was. But I enjoyed it. It was a nice reset. One thing I could comment on was it doesn't necessarily feel like Dragon Ball Z. Like it definitely doesn't have that Dragon Ball Z feel. Like, this feels like a new revival, like a new reset, like a very good reset. So I don't know, maybe some of the hardcore fans out there might be a little bit put off by that. I enjoyed it. Like I said, it was a nice reset, nice revival of the story, continuation. And hopefully this will finally cement a good history of what happens after the whole Boo saga and whatnot. You know, before, you know what, I thought that was I'm gonna touch on this actually. I thought that was a very, very, like, interesting thing that they were gonna try to attempt here, because for a long time, you know, as maybe in Japan too, you know, since 1996, I think GT came out in Japan. But for us, we didn't get it until like the 2003 maybe. But for a while, you know, level 4 Goku, you know, and Vegeta, Pan, Trunks, though that story, GT, is such a part of the Dragon Ball history now, like in the video games, and you know, when we recollect things, and like, I mean, I'm pretty sure there are fans who are like, oh, that's not canon, you know, it doesn't count, you know. Maybe there might be fans, but for me and most of my friends and anyone who I talk to, just like level 4 Goku, like, that is a thing, that's real, you know. it happened in the games, to back it up. So that's like a piece of history. And for now, with the new movies, and with the new anime, they're totally like, okay, forget that happened. This is what the new history is. And that's been our history for like years, since childhood. So that's a little bit interesting, to see. I know I did not appreciate, God form Goku. I did not dig the youthful, younger, look of his eyes, his whole face, his body, smaller, more agility. I didn't dig it at all. Like I thought level 4 Goku was the next step. You already have like the great ape, that the Saiyans transform into, and I thought the level 4 was a good balance of, half great ape, half, Super Saiyan. You put them together, this is level 4, this is what it's gonna look like. And anything above level 4, if there was going to be level 5, would just be like a golden form of that, It just made sense to me as a kid. But, with God form Goku, and with the new Super Saiyan God form, it's just like, what? Like, why are you doing this? Like, I just did not appreciate it. It's growing on me. I'm getting used to it. But it's gonna take a while for me to how do I say? It's gonna take a while for me to finally accept it as the true history and continuation of the Dragon Ball Z universe. Now I'm not saying that GT was some amazing story, because I'm not talking about GT. Like I can't even finish GT. I've tried so many times since childhood to sit down and watch GT, especially now that, you got websites and, streaming sites where you can just binge watch the crap out of GT. I just cannot finish GT. It's just so bad. I can't do it. But I do watch, I have watched some of the major fights, and important parts of GT on YouTube. But I get through the first arc, and then I'm like, no, I can't. I lose interest. That's what I'm gonna say. I lose interest. So yeah, GT is not my cup of tea, but it's such. I remember back in the day, to give you guys an idea of where I'm coming from. I remember back in the day, I had to have been about 8 years old, 9 years old, maybe 8 or 9. And the Frieza saga was over and done with on Cartoon Network, on Toonami. And I had been away from the Dragon Ball, I hadn't been up to date with it, because I didn't have cable at my grandma's house. When we had to move to my grandma's house, we didn't have cable. So I lost, I wasn't up to date. But I remember the kids would always talk about this thing called Dragon Ball GT, and this was at the beginning of the internet. This was 1999, 2000. So the very early stages, or not the very early stages, but where not everyone was online at this point. But information was still getting out there. It was the early days of the internet. And, kids would come to school and they would talk about Dragon Ball GT. Oh, you haven't seen Dragon Ball GT? Oh, man. Goku, turned Super Saiyan 4. And I'm like, what? Super Saiyan 4? I just saw Super Saiyan 1. What? How did this happen, And, they would just talk about it like it was the most amazing thing. And I was missing out. I didn't have the internet at this time. I think we did have the internet, but I definitely did not think like, oh, I'm gonna try to watch this on the internet, I'm gonna try to look for this, I don't know why. I just, I was so engulfed in these, stories of how amazing it was, yet I did not try to actually, attempt to, I don't even know if you could stream videos back then. I'm pretty sure you could probably download a very, very, like, low-res video somewhere on the internet, but I'm not sure. But, yeah, so I was like, oh my god, I gotta watch this. I gotta check it out. And like about a year later, maybe, I finally, got cable again. And I remember I was living with my cousins at the time. And, they were Dragon Ball Z fans, of course, but I was the older cousin. And, I remember like catching an episode of the Cell Saga already. Like I totally on the first run, I totally missed like the Mecha Frieza and stuff and the androids. Like when I came, it was already. Well, I did see the androids. I saw like a little bit of the end of the androids and the introduction of Cell. That's when I came back. And, but I think back then there were like long breaks in between, like the Frieza and, Android Saga. Yeah, so when I got back into Dragon Ball Z, I was like, oh my gosh, I remember the first time I had just come across it. Like I missed the intro to the show. So I was just watching this, new version of Dragon Ball Z that I'd never seen before, and I thought, oh my gosh, this must be it. This is the Dragon Ball GT that people have been talking about. This is it. This is Dragon Ball GT, finally. It's been a long time. I've been away for a while, but I'm finally watching Dragon Ball GT. And little did I know that it was only the Android and Cell Saga of the Dragon Ball Z. So, after that, I kept up, with Dragon Ball Z until, the Buu Saga. And actually, I'm wrong. I forgot to mention that, shortly after, I think this was a little bit at the beginning of, at the beginning of the Buu Saga. I remember there was this place at the mall that sold, like, import toys and manga and figures and just anything from Japan and China and Korea, anything that was like Asian stuff. There was a place at the mall, and I remember going in there and like seeing like all this Dragon Ball GT stuff, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is finally it. So I remember going in there and buying like the DVDs of Dragon Ball GT. Not DVDs, but they're like CD-ROMs with like 2 GT episodes. They cost like $30 each, and I would like spend like $30 on like the CD. And I remember the clerks would be like, are you sure you want to buy this? It's in Japanese, you can't understand. And I was like, no, it's okay, I just have to watch, so I watched them. So I did get introduced into GT at that age, and I was still young. So GT has been a very important part of the DBZ history for me. At least the forms. I'm gonna say the forms, like, Level 4 Goku was definitely cemented in my mind as canon Dragon Ball universe, continuation, like, Goku did go level 4. Like, that was after level 3. Like, forget the villains, the stupid storyline. Level 4 was it. That was true. So, like, now, after they got rid of level 4 and just added God mode, I was kind of disappointed, and I'm sorry, if people, are not on the same page as me, but that's just the way I feel. So that was pretty cool, that the new show came on, and I do have my opinions about it, and I do enjoy it. I really like it. I'm looking forward to watching it. Episode 2 is going to come on in 2 days. Definitely going to check it out. If you haven't watched it yet, you can definitely check it out on kissanime.com. But yeah, that was one thing that I was really excited about. Another thing was the Death Note drama that was supposed to be released, and it did get released. And I had been hearing a lot of stuff, even my wife was telling me stuff that her friends were telling her, like, oh, they're gonna change this, they're gonna change this. I was reading online too, keeping up, like, oh, this actor is gonna play this role, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it a chance, a fair chance, Of course, Death Note, very popular with the anime, manga, just the whole, just the whole story of Death Note, very popular, worldwide. So, of course I thought, like, even with, what did I gave an example to my wife of what I thought. The Game of Thrones. Yeah. The Game of Thrones is based on the books, of course, and the books have been released for a while, so you can totally read the books and be up to date, be ahead of the game, like, oh, this person dies, And now they're moving away from the books and starting to do their own thing, trying to, branch off and, mess with the story a little bit. And I thought, okay, well, the Game of Thrones are doing that. Maybe, these changes to the Death Note, drama are gonna be, for the best, so it's not so predictable. A story that's so popular, people already know what's gonna happen. There has to be at least a little bit of change somewhere to keep the surprise and the suspense building, So I was on board. Checked it out. And in my opinion, they could have totally made new characters for this drama and just, sold it as a Death Note spinoff. Like, these changes are so much that this doesn't feel like the Death Note story. I mean, of course, the basics of the Death Note story are there. You got the Death Note, you got Ryuk, you got Light, L. But the whole, just small things, like, it could be its own story. Like, it could be a different story. Like, I mean, you could think about this as a revision, of the original story, which I guess could make sense. But, I don't think it was promoted as that. I think it was promoted as a Death Note drama, and then, like, people started hearing that, oh, they changed this and this and this and this and this. So it was okay. I'm not gonna say I got my Death Note drama for this summer. I'm gonna say it's okay. It's good. I checked it out. I might check out episode 2, and based on episode 2, I'll see if I continue to watch. But for now, I'm not really feeling it. The actors are great. It's just the story. Like, it's one of those things, like, you grow up with it and they change it too much, and it's like you can't accept it as canon or, like, real. Like, this has to be something else, this has to be its own, universe or its own story, So it's one of those things. So the Dragon Ball anime, Dragon Ball Super, was 1. Death Note drama was 2. And the other thing that I did not receive was Digimon Adventure, third season. It was announced. Shit, when was it announced? Like a long time ago. It's been a while. And there's like teasers, there's online teasers, it was how everybody was hooked, fans worldwide, like, oh my gosh, this is gonna happen. Finally, we've been waiting for this. It's amazing. We're finally getting, the continuation of, not Dragon Ball, Digimon Adventure, it's amazing. And then, out of nowhere, they released this awesome trailer at the end of a Digimon marathon. Because they played every episode of Digimon Adventure in a row. I think it was on Nico Nico Doga, and they after the last episode, they revealed an awesome trailer for season 3, or what we thought was season 3, and it was amazing. The art style was great. Everything was just awesome. And then at the end of the trailer, it's revealed that it's actually a movie, or a series of movies. And the first movie will not be released until November. And at that moment, I was like, what? Like, why would you do this? Okay, they had been hyping this. Well, actually, to their defense, they never actually said that this was a new anime. They showed promotional art, and they gave a not a release date, but I think it was at first I think it was like March 15 or spring 2015, and then it was changed to summer 2015. Like, we would just get those, like, not a real actual date, but like spring 2015, summer 2015. And when they changed it to summer 2015, we thought, okay, they have to make sure that the quality, is top notch. And maybe they're going to wait for summer because Digimon Adventure starts in August, or August 1st, right? In the summer. So, okay, maybe they're going to release it on that day, So it's all good, whatever. As long as it's going to come out. And it got moved back again for the third time to November, and it's been revealed that it's actually a series of movies and not an actual anime. So I was pretty disappointed with that reveal. I kind of want to say that I felt a little bit cheated. But like I said, like, they never actually said that it was a new anime. People just assumed that it was a new anime. And, there were clues pointing that, it was going to be on TV, in the summer. So people just assumed, and people were getting hyped, and, a bombshell was dropped on all the fans, and it turns out that it's not a series. It's it's a series of movies, but it's not an anime series. So that kind of sucks. It especially sucks for more international fans. Something that I didn't think about when I first, when I was thinking about, the reveal, was that these movies are going to be released in theaters. So international fans are not even going to be able to watch these movies as soon as they come out. Like, they have to be released on, like, Blu-ray, before someone even makes subs for something like this, So that sucks for them. I don't think these movies are going to be released in America or around the world. To my knowledge, I don't know, well, maybe, like in Asian countries, like the Dragon Ball Revival of F movie was. But yeah, that was disappointing. But they have been promoting like a whole bunch of merchandise and, festivals and stuff. So that's cool. But that was my disappointment for this summer. or I've been in a rut because of that. But Dragon Ball was good. Dragon Ball Super was amazing. Death Note was okay, and I got no Digimon Adventure. But anyways, I'm gonna take another break, and I'll be right back with more CBNJP. Okay, let's get back into it. Let's get into the real purpose of this video, which is, do Japanese people, what do Japanese people think about blah 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 people? I always get messages on YouTube, Gmail, Facebook, Twitter, like everything. People always asking me like, oh, I want to know, or me and my friends want to know, what do Japanese people think about Italian people, about Hispanic people, about Eskimo people, about Indian people, about just anyone, just purple people, about brown people. Like, what the fuck? Like, to be fair, I can understand where this question is coming from, cause you don't know, you want to go somewhere and you just want to make sure that the place you go to, that you'll be accepted and you'll be, everything will be okay, and you won't run into any issues or problems or anything like that. So I understand where the mindset of this type of question is coming from. But since I've been here for so long, or for a while, and I'm not gonna act like I've been here for like 10, 15 years or whatever. But since I've been here, I can, every time I hear see or read one of these questions, I just think, oh my gosh, this question is so ridiculous that this person does not realize how ridiculous it sounds. Like, okay, let's see, what can I give an example? Okay, let me just say that Japanese people do not care what you are. They don't give a fuck about what race you are. It doesn't matter to them. Like, real talk, to be honest, you are a stranger to them. You do not matter. Like, okay, walk down the street. Okay, go outside, walk down the street, look to your left, look to your right. Those people do not matter to you, right? They have no effect on your life. You do not even think about them at all, right? It's the same in Japan. People do not, take that kind of stuff into consideration. Like, people do not walk down the street and see, oh, there is an Indian man coming my way. Like, people don't care about that kind of shit. To Japanese people, that guy is nothing but another bird. Another stranger, another, I can't talk. Another face, like, in the crowd, it's no one. It's no big deal. No one cares. Really, there's absolutely zero interest in your race. Well, actually, there will be people who do seek out foreigners, but that's like to practice English, or maybe they want like a half baby or something, and they're gonna hunt you down. Literally, they will hunt people who are not Japanese. They will hunt you down and just like harass you. Not in a, well, it could be in a bad way, but I mean, like, just try to cling on to you, just like anyone who would who like is really into Japan. Like, if you're really into Japan and you live in a place where there are no Japanese people, and then all of a sudden, like a Japanese transfer student goes into your school and you just like zone in on them, like, oh my gosh, this is my chance. I finally get a Japanese friend. You're totally gonna go to them and just cling on to them. You want every bit of that Japanese influence or whatever. It doesn't even matter what kind of person they are, as long as they're Japanese. That'll do it for you. I'm not saying everybody is like that, but I'm saying like that kind of obsessiveness, that kind of craziness. That's the type of hunters there are over here, who seek out like white people or black people or whatever. But anyways, to get back on topic, no one cares about your race. You're a stranger. You don't matter. You do not affect their lives. I want to give an example, like, let me try to think of something, like, okay, I don't want to say that there isn't a fear of foreigners here in Japan. Most of the time, people don't care. Like, I'll give an example, like, just yesterday, I was on the bus. I got on the bus to go to work, and just by chance, I wasn't trying to sit behind this person or whatever, close to this person, but I had sat behind a very tall blonde white woman who was on the bus. She got on the bus for me, and just by chance, I happened to sit behind her, in the seat behind her. Now the bus was full when I got on, and actually as it was pulling up, I thought, oh man, I'm not going to be able to sit down, I'm going to have to stand up. But luckily I did find a seat behind her. Now the seat she was sitting in, all the seats on the bus, sit like two people to a seat, So there was someone who was sitting by the window next to this white woman. So she had to have, sat next to this Japanese person. This Japanese person did not have a choice to sit next to her. If I'm sorry if I'm trying to explain it in a very confusing way, but okay, the window seat was occupied by a Japanese woman, and this white woman sat in the free seat that was right next to her. And I had sat in the seat that was behind the white woman, but there was another Japanese dude who was sitting on the window seat that I sat next to. But like no one looked at her, no one was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to sit next to you. No one cared about her. But I did witness something. Now, like I mentioned earlier, I've been listening to podcasts all the time, so on my way to work, I always listen to podcasts, so I got my headphones in. And at this one stop, this old lady did get on the bus, very old Japanese woman, and this white woman was the only person who got up and said, I didn't listen to her, I couldn't hear her because I was listening to my podcast, and she was talking very softly where I couldn't hear her words, so I don't know if she was speaking Japanese or whatever. I'm assuming she was speaking Japanese. But she was talking to this old lady, and, I'm assuming she said something along the lines of, oh, here, you can sit here. And I remember looking at this old lady's face, who, had, this fear, what's going on? She just looked up at this very tall white woman and was like, what? Had a face of, confusion. And was looking around at other Japanese people, and other people were just looking at her, at this old lady, I don't know what to do, So, eventually the old lady was like, oh, okay, thank you for letting me sit down. And she sat down. So the rest of the trip, which is not a long trip to the station, is only 15 minutes, 10 minutes. So this white lady had to stand up for the next 10 minutes. But at the end of the, when we all got off of the bus at the station, the old lady did, stop. She didn't have to say anything to the white lady, because the white lady was already in front of her, because she was standing. So the old lady did, tap her on the shoulder or on the arm and say thank you for letting me sit down. I really appreciate it. And the white lady was like, oh no, don't mention it, it's no problem. So that was good. That's an example of people, are not very discriminating. They don't really discriminate. They don't really care who you are. But that I will touch that there is a fear of foreigners here, but not that type of fear. Like I said, the old lady's face was like surprised, like, oh my gosh, what do I do? Like, this person's talking to me. But I'm gonna explain it like this. Just imagine that you're like in high school or any school, just school. You're in school and your teacher assigns you like in an assignment. And you have to read this book and write a paper. And you gotta turn it in by a certain date. So you know that you're supposed to do this, but for some reason you don't do it. You just don't do the assignment. But you do know that you will have to present this assignment to the class. So when you come on the day that it's due, and the teacher starts, calling on people like, okay, you come up to the class, present your, paper or whatever. That fear of like, oh my gosh, I hope the teacher doesn't call on me, or I'm gonna sit, as far away from the teacher so she doesn't call on me. Please don't call on me, That fear, I think that's the same type of fear that Japanese people feel when if a foreigner, or if they sit next to a foreigner, like, oh, please don't talk to me, I don't know English, please don't call on me. I'm gonna sit as far away from you as I can so you don't call on me, or you don't try to converse with me. I know I should have, did something. I should not, damn it, I don't want to say that Japanese people should know English. So forget I mentioned that part, but it's just like that, like, oh my gosh, please don't call on me, please don't call on me, like, damn, fuck, they called on me, and I got nothing to present. It's like that, like, damn, the teacher called on me, I got nothing to present, what am I gonna do? Like, oh shit, this foreigner's talking to me, I don't know English, what am I gonna do? It's the same type of fear that, like, so I think that's the only fear that, Japanese people feel towards non-Japanese. So it's not that big of a deal. Of course, there are some Japanese people who do speak English. Like, I met a lot of them. Not very, amazing English, but shit, my English isn't even amazing. So, I'm not judging anyone. But that is my honest opinion about, do Japanese people accept, or what do Japanese people think about whatever type of people. So I hope that gives you kind of an understanding. Just to recap, I'm gonna say Japanese people do not care what race you are. It does not matter. You are a stranger to them. You will not affect their life at all. Like, I kind of understand like this type of question back like 20 or 30 years ago. This would be something of interest. But now that it's 2015 and there are like foreigners everywhere in Japan, almost, it seems like, stuff like this is just ridiculous. It doesn't matter. Like, it's not even relevant, like, really. And I think until you come here and see for yourself, you won't see it for your own eyes. And you won't understand it until you see it. And especially if you move to a place like Tokyo, like, this isn't even like an issue. Like, you probably don't even think about this. Like, it's just maybe in the smaller towns like where I live, and like around, like totally in like the countryside or whatever, yeah, this is an issue or something of interest. But to me, this is just like one of the most ridiculous, questions. And I kind of think like why would, I don't want to say it's a bad question to ask. It's just like, what, like, why do you want to know this? Like, even if I did say, oh, like, yeah, Japanese people don't like purple people, or don't like, green people, like, would that change your mind to come here? Like, would it matter? Like, I want, like, I don't know, I can't get into this type of mindset of, like, why it would matter. Like, I mean, of course, you want things to go smoothly, you want to be accepted. Everyone, of course, wants to be accepted, so it's totally normal. But even if I do say you're not accepted, does that change your mind to come to Japan? Or does it brace yourself? Like, oh, okay, I can expect this. It's gonna be hard to walk around in Japan, but you know what? I'm gonna give it a shot. Like what? I don't know what this type of information is useful for. Like, really, like, I have no idea. But anyways, that's my take on the subject. Now I know there are going to be people who disagree with me, but hey, it's subjective. It's from my point of view. I don't really stand out. People can tell that I'm half Japanese, of course. But I could be a half Japanese person who lives in Japan. You know what I mean? Like, people don't know that I'm American until I open my mouth. And then they think, oh, wow, this person is not Japanese. This person's Japanese does not sound as fluid and fluent as it should. Something is up, like, maybe this person is from, somewhere else, something like that. So I can kind of like hide in the shadows, I guess, like if I don't open my mouth, so I can really see and hear what Japanese people have to say about like foreign people and stuff like that. So it's really interesting. But most of the time, it's nothing negative. Like, I've never heard anything negative. But it's just the time that we live in. I mean, come on, it's the internet, age, The world is becoming smaller, We're part of a global community now. So it's not weird to see a white person walking down the street in Japan. Like, Japanese people are not going to be like, oh my gosh, there's a white person there. I think I'm more like, oh my gosh, there's a white person there than the actual Japanese people are. Because to me, it's like, oh my gosh, another person who's in my same boat, Like, oh, they're not native to Japan. Maybe they go through the same hardships or difficulties or hurdles that I go through, So I think foreigners are more obsessed with other foreigners than actual Japanese people. That might be another interesting topic to touch on later on. But for now, I'm just going to leave it at that. But yeah, anyways, this has been episode 5 of CBNJP. Hopefully I get episode 6 out sooner than later. But I'm going to edit this and see how good it turns out. This is a test, a trial run. It's just an experiment to see how well this is. Anyways, it's your boy Cowboy in Japan. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.